We just gave Alphana the ability to think beyond your video, and it changes everything. So until now, your AI only knew what you told it, right? Your video transcript, your notes, but nothing else. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how we just solved the biggest problem in AI content creation, and that's isolation. We just launched live web search in Alphana, powered by GPT-5, and I'm going to show you exactly how this transforms 5 critical content workflows. The first one being newsjacking trending stories to amplify your reach. The second one is fact-checking every claim you make in real time, researching any guest or host before doing an interview, creating YouTube titles that tap into current search trends. That's a big one. Writing 5,000-word blog posts and ebooks packed with the latest industry data. So this isn't just an update, it's your content becoming smarter than the competition overnight, and I'm really excited to show you how. So let's dive in. Here's what's cool is that a lot of the updates that we made, it's not something you can visibly see outright, but I'm going to teach you how you can use this. And because now we have live web search, there's so many different ways you can use this, and I'm only pulling out a handful of areas of how we can do this. So what I'll do first is I need to go ahead and create a video so that we can start generating content. All right, so for those of you that are new in Alphana, I'm going to show you what you would want to do. Number one, let's go ahead and create a new project. So I'm going to click create up here. When you get in here, we give you a whole selection of different templates that you can use to be able to create content from. Now, if you stay to the end, I'll tell you exactly how you can get access to a template that gives you all these live web search results as well as the new AI cards that we are rolling out inside of Alphana so you can get access to this. Now, the first things first is I don't want to select a template for yet. First, I want to be able to import a video that I've got inside of Alphana so that we could use that as context for us to be able to generate content from. So I click the add YouTube and upload button, and I can pull in a video from YouTube. I can upload a video from my computer or Google Drive, Dropbox, or OneDrive. Or in this case, because I've already uploaded the video, I'm going to reuse a video that I have inside of my library. And so now that I've got my video library here, I'm just going to pick any video. I've got this one. All right, this is an 1.5-hour video. I'm just going to click create so we can give it a test. And now that I've got my video selected, that's right here inside of Knowledge, I can now select either a template or an AI card to use to be able to generate content from. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to actually use a template. I'm going to choose a card. Okay. For those of you that remember, what's an AI card inside of Alphana? An AI card is essentially an individual piece of content that you can create, right? And so you can use these as building blocks, right? I like to look at it as Lego blocks, right? You could pair multiple of these into one project to be able to generate content. Like it could be a newsletter, an Instagram reel, caption. You could generate 10 short form clips, a blog post, etc. I think the first one of what I want to pull in is, since somebody mentioned fact checking, right? Let's go ahead and use that one first. All right. So if I type fact checker, here we go. So we created a new AI card called fact checker, which is going to thoroughly fact check all claims and statistics and statements made inside of the video because we now have live web search. So if I click fact checker, I'm going to come down here and click next. Now, really important, with the new update we rolled out just in the past week, we added GPT-5 inside of Alphana. Everyone should be on the latest version automatically, but if you're not, just select this drop-down menu that says GPT-5 and make sure you use that before you continue to the next step. Super important. It will not work with GPT-4o. All right, now that I've got GPT-5, I'm going to click next. Now on this step, I could personalize how I want the content to be written. In my case right now, I have it conversational, 6th grade reading level, my target audience. I'm going to say creators in this example, English. Now, all these are text boxes, so feel free to personalize it. And of course, you can update this in your custom instructions. So you could just do this once and you don't have to do it every single time. You could just ignore the step. But I think that's it for now. And I'm going to click next. And at this step, if you want to edit the transcript, you can to correct like misspellings or the speaker names. I'm going to skip that for right now. I'm going to say no. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. All right. So now what we're doing is we're actually now analyzing the entire video that you uploaded or you selected from your library. We're going to understand everything that's going on inside of the video. Once we have a good understanding about what's happening in the video, we're going to pull out all the claims, all the stats, any metrics, any information in the video that might be relevant to go and fact check. And then we're going to do a live search online on the internet to fact check each one of those claims, and we're going to put it together inside one digestible format for you to use. So this might take a little bit longer than generating regular content inside of Alphana. Why? Well, one, of course, we're analyzing the video, but number two, we have to go and do a web search and a lookup first. And that's what's happening on the back end, right? GPT-5 and the power of that is doing a live web search, usually pulling 30, 40, 50 different sources online to be able to verify claims, to debunk some of them, and to provide you with a good analysis. So I'll leave it at that. If you've got questions, put in the chat while this is generating. The ability to mix cards is a huge benefit of Alphana to create our custom workflows. 100%. That's like the number one benefit I would say with Alphana, because anybody can do one individual prompt for one thing, but in this case you can create individual workflows, and literally you could create thousands of different ones, right? So there's so many use cases. And the second one was, can you upload an entire book? That's a great question. So you can't upload the book, but you could copy and paste pages or a long length of content to be able to generate context from. We don't support the actual book uploads yet, but you could do it based off of a video, an audio voice note, or you can copy and paste a huge block of text, like several pages or a document or something like that. All right, so check this out. The fact checker started creating. Let me see, how is it? It's still writing. Look at that, right? It's still going through. It's going through the context, the claims. It's breaking down the inaccurate or misleading pieces. So here they are. We'll kind of dive a little bit into this. This is pretty cool. Key corrections. So this is such useful information. I mean, we're living in a world today where you never know what's accurate or not, right? Some people say one thing, but it really means something else. So look at here. It's putting all the sources and URLs to everything that it searched, so that you could go verify that on your own if you want, or if you wanted links to go and read a little bit more into those articles. So everything is based off of what it could find today and not something old, right? Because that's always been a problem with the large language models, with the AI models, right? And that was one problem that we had in Alphana. We just didn't go and look up to the internet for search. So it had relevance because we were basing everything based off of the video. But if we wanted to fact check or pull in additional insights on top of what the video is about, we couldn't do that before. Now we can, right? All right, here we go. So several business metrics are private and the founders are not verified. Okay, so now that we've got everything in here, we break out what the verified claims are. All right, so I'll go through just a couple examples because I want to move on and show you more ways that you could use live web search in Alphana. So verified claim. Oxford University Press named Riz the 2023 Word of the Year. Verification, multiple outlets from AP, Smithsonian, People confirm Oxford selected Riz on December 4th through the 5th. And then it gives you a link to AP News. Now, Riz is the name of, I believe, the product that they're talking about here, of some 22-year-old that hit $1.5 million in revenue. And one of the things, either the product name or something in the product was called Riz. So they were talking about how they got that award. So it went through and found that out, right? Another claim was that OpenAI publicly rolled out GPT-4 with vision, image understanding around late 2023. And here you go. It went ahead and verified when that happened. It was on Dev Day. And so now you get insights on that. Then it breaks out. Of course, it's got more verified claims, but other ones like partially accurate needs context, right? Maybe there's some things that it can't really tell you yes or no. So it's going to try to dive in a little bit more. And in this case, the claim was there was no way to take a picture and get content from an LLM until GPT-4 Vision was released. We were building it as the API was coming out and it was heavily rate limited. And then it gives you context, right? The multimodal capability was previewed in March, and it kind of breaks into that information. So this gives you a couple that it couldn't say for sure yes or no. And then down here, it provides now inaccurate or misleading claims, and then it goes into unverifiable claims, right? So here's an example. Halo Top Pint is 300 calories, but packed with sugars. Now, what's wrong? While some Halo Top flavors are 300 to 360 calories, their sugars are typically a fraction of regular premium ice cream sugar. And then it gives you an example for like Ben & Jerry's. Calling it packed with sugars without comparison is misleading. So look at that. Fact checked right here. It pulled that in. And then it goes into unverifiable stats. So these are all great and useful insights. If number one, you're watching a video, you're trying to get an understanding, or you're trying to do research and you want to understand some of the claims in there, or hey, let's say you recorded the video that you thought might be true and you wanted to run it in Alphana just to fact check yourself, or fact check something that your guest was saying on one of your podcast episodes. And then of course you've got all of the URLs here, and you could just you could click on any one of these and it'll take you directly to that source. And of course, usually it does work, but if not, you could just copy and paste the link here and then it'll take you directly to that source. So if I open this up, you'll see here now it gives you access to the source article so you could take a look at it. All right. Any questions so far? What are your thoughts on the fact checker? Do you find this useful? Will you use this or not? or any ideas around this, please drop it into the chat. Meanwhile, let me check out your questions. You're excited for this. I've been using Alphana to generate these from podcast interviews I've been on. Hugely successful. These new AI cards are going to be great. So you've been posting more content is what you're saying directly from Alphana. I'm really, really glad to hear that. He's been using Alphana and he's been generating content. Looks like nice. Are you generating the images and the posts in here? So you've got a whole blog in here of content being created. All right. Let's click on the first one. Very nice. All right. The images within it, the featured images comes from a prompt you guys give me. Look at that. So based on the prompts that we have in Alphana and the content you can see are being generated. Look at that. That's great, Kurt. Everybody go check them out. What is it? KurtUhlir.com, UHLIR. I love it. Yeah, I love seeing content that's being made. I love seeing this in the real world. Go ahead and check this out. Fact checker. Add it to your list. Let me see. I would definitely be using and making content around fact checker. Beautiful. I want to see it as well. Let's do another one. Let's do host research or guest research. Okay. So we've got the host on here and the guest, but let's say I want to interview the host, right? Or guest. You could kind of tweak what this is. And you found a video of them on YouTube already, and you want to get more insights from them, right? And you want to figure out a list of interview questions to ask them based on the online lookup. So we want to do two things. We want to pull insights coming from the video, and we want to be able to do a live lookup. So I'm going to click here, add card. Okay. Add card in Alphana will allow you to add more content now to this project. And this is the building blocks, the workflow that we were talking about earlier, because now when I'm adding a card, we have a whole library of cards that you could create. And all of these have pre-made prompts inside of it. So you don't have to come up with the prompts yourself. And so in this example, we're going to find the host research. Here we go. So if you type host research, you're going to see a card come up that's going to research this host thoroughly. I'm going to click on it and it's going to now analyze the video. It's going to understand some of the insights based off the video. And then it's going to start doing a live web search based on who the host is, and then pull in those insights as well as the insights from the video to put together to help you prepare for the interview. Now, this could be used in many ways, right? You could do it for host research. You could do it for the guest research. I mean, you could do it based off of research for a certain topic and give you an analysis based on it. So this is just one of hundreds of ways that you can use it for the research side. And so I'd love to see it. Drop it in the chat or drop a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. You know, do you host a podcast? If you do, go ahead and drop a link. Or if you host a podcast, do you ever need to come up with research based on them? I'd love to understand that as well. All right, look at that. It started generating the host research and interview prep, and it's breaking it all down. Now it's going through interview questions. Look at this. This is looking great. All right. You know, and I'll read through. So this is keep going. We'll let the sources, and then it puts together sources, right, of all the online searches that it found. Look, it even searched online podcasts. Look at that. iHeartRadio, WAP, like look at all these different pages. Socialblade.com. It's pulling in content from so many different sources, right? Doing this manually obviously would take a bunch of time, but let's just look at high level, right? You know, host analysis. Brett Malinowski is currently focused on building a media podcast platform around scrappy young builders and creator-led software while operating inside the WAP ecosystem. In the last 6 months, he's released frequent long-form interviews. He's done a content push. Look, it breaks out a couple paragraphs about them. So you're literally researching interviews, guests, everything like that, right? There you go. And then you've got interview questions, right, as a great starting point, right? So here's one. You're running media education and marketplace distribution at the same time. Where do you draw the line between editorial and performance when a guest product also benefits your partners or programs? And how do you disclose that to your audience? That's actually a really, really good question. And it tells you the rationale behind it, right? This is important, right? Surfaces the incentives, the transparency, and trust. And I think we all see this with podcasts and shows where sometimes they might interview people who might be a direct conflict to their company or has a competitor or anything like that. And so it's good ways to kind of see how this works. But look at all these questions, right? You know, I'll just pick another one at random. If you had to choose one, would you rather have 10 creators who can guarantee 100,000 views on a rigid script or one creator who improvises and averages 500 hates briefs? So these all put together amazing interview questions that just based on the research, the topics, and what's in the video. So you're kind of getting the power of it all in one, right? And then, like I said, you can always look at the sources to see where they're coming from and put that in here. A couple things. Let's say you're like, hey, I don't want it to research the host. I want it to research the guest. Okay. Click edit. Each individual AI card could be edited after it's been generated. And what you want to do is you want to edit the source prompt and make sure that the prompt says what you want. In this case, I could just change it and say, hey, research this host orally. And instead, I could say research this guest. It doesn't have to be about the host. Now, maybe, and I'll figure it out, maybe I'll publish another AI card that's about guest research. So that way you could quickly just choose one or the other. You don't have to pick and choose between the ones that you want. So you could do something like that, just make a change. One thing that's really cool with Alphana is that we spend a lot of time putting together prompts. So this doesn't just say, hey, go research this person, right? If you read through this, you'll see that it goes really deep into what we want it to do. Do a live search, focus your research on projects and controversies, career pivots, prioritize recent information, use multiple sources. Like, we go very deep on how we want everything to be produced. So nothing is very standard. Okay. And what's great is if you want the output to look a little bit differently, bullet points, how you want it structured, you could edit the source prompt and just make the minor adjustments you need, and then you could regenerate. So this is a great card to do. You can use, and then you've got the fact checker. So that's perfect. So let's see what the next one is, right? I've got on my list. The next one would be newsjacking. Okay. All right. Why is this important? And there's so many ways to use newsjacking. So if you don't know what newsjacking is, it's essentially you're going to try to find trending news or things that are hot that are being talked about right now, right? So we try to limit it to like the last 24 hours, 48 hours, or the last 7 days if you're in a very specific niche where there's not a lot of trends happening at that time. But what you want to do is you want to hijack the news, the headlines of what's trending that's relevant to your business, so that you could tie it to your concept and use that to generate things like hooks, right? If you're going to do a hook, you want to be able to leverage the hook based on what's trending today. Or if you want to create a title for your video so that it's very recent for search purposes, you want to do that, right? And so there's always ways to combine something that's happening in the news or something that's trending online along with your content. And we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to add a card. I'm going to type newsjacking. Okay. And it's going to write 10 compelling hooks that newsjack current trending stories to amplify my video content based on the video transcript or text context. That's what the newsjacking hook generator is going to do. This is brand new inside of Alphana and not something that you're going to find probably anywhere. So really encourage you to use this. Let's see the results. Meanwhile, let me see questions. This interview research will get used a whole bunch. I love it. Let's use it. Robert Redford trending today. All right. So let's see what this pulls up. Now, what's unique about this is that it's not going to look up anything that's trending. It's first going to analyze the video. Okay. And so we did this dynamically because each person and their videos might have different topics. Based on those topics, it's going to then find news stories or trends or things happening today to tie that into the video. So everybody's going to get different results. And here we go. Look at this. It gave me 10 beautiful hooks and it gave me the 3 headlines that it based it off of. So let's look at the headlines first. All right. The 3 headlines that it pulled in was, number 1, Trump says the U.S. has a buyer for TikTok. And this was as of September 16, 2025. What to know after U.S. says it has reached framework deal with China to keep TikTok in operation. And lastly, Beijing says TikTok's U.S. app will use Chinese algorithm. Wow. Okay. So now that we've got these headlines, why is it talking about TikTok, right? Remember, inside of the video, they're talking about different things. They're talking about how this person grew. They're talking about TikTok and how that's working. So now it's hijacking the news about TikTok and bringing it into here. Let's read some of these hooks. All right. Everyone's celebrating TikTok's deal, but your moat is timing and novel demos, not platforms. Wow, look at that, right? Like literally in the video, it's talking about your moat. Moat is going to be like what your key differentiation as a company, your secret sauce, right? And they're talking about in the video, but look how they leveraged TikTok's deal to talk about this. And this is what's cool. This post could have nothing to do with TikTok, but because people are celebrating TikTok, because a ton of creators were going to be out of jobs if they didn't have TikTok, they're like, everybody's celebrating TikTok, and then it goes into what the story's about, right? All right, here's the next one that we're hijacking. TikTok stays, Optimize Instagram story reply opens now. The funnel starts before texting. Okay, the next one. Oracle's involved again. Translation, don't rent distribution. Build micro creator systems you can control. Let's see if we find another one. Licensing China's algorithm. Cool. Your edge is show, don't tell. Clips that feel new. So again, it's hijacking the news and then it's weaving in what your content is about. So this is a great way to use hooks for stuff happening right now, but this is very timely, right? If I did this today, you want to make sure your video is going to go out today or tomorrow, right? You're not going to wait and publish this 3 weeks from now because this is relevant today. All right, so that's Newsjacking Hook Generator. So next one up is YouTube titles, right? This is coming up. It's similar to what we do with Newsjacking, but a little bit different. We want to come up with 10 unique YouTube titles for the video so you can have options to choose from. This is great when you just finished recording a video, you're about to upload it to YouTube, put that into Alphana. Alphana will generate titles, show notes, all these different details. But I'm going to show you this specific use case now, because now what we're doing when we're coming up with YouTube titles is we're actually doing a live web search first to research and figure out what high converting YouTube titles are to maximize click-through rates, and then it will generate the titles, right? That's a big difference. That's a big difference from just initially just generating a bunch of titles that are relevant to the video, because we didn't have the initial research to find the top ways to format YouTube titles in 2025, put together the proper frameworks, and finding the trending relevant terms before drafting those titles, right? So what's cool about that is that, let's say next month some big changes happen on YouTube. When you use this card, it's automatically going to go figure out what those new changes are before it puts together the titles for you, right? Because things are always changing and it's evolving. So that's what's cool with this one. We'll just give that a second so that it could draft, and then we'll take it from there. And there you have it. Check it out. Beautiful YouTube titles. It gave me a whole selection, and it tells me the recommended title after looking at all of them and tells me why it works. So before I do that, let's just look at a couple of these, right? And you guys tell me. All right, first title, 22-year-old turns AI Riz app into $1.5 million. 2025 playbook, right? In brackets. All right, number 2, from kicked out to $1.5 million, building social wizard with $0 in ads. App Store SEO that works. Names, subtitles, ratings. And then, I don't know, maybe another one like TikTok UGC funnel. How a dating app hit $1 million in weeks. So these are all structured very carefully in a way to do really well on YouTube for SEO and to drive more click-through rates. Now, which one did it pick? Here's the one that it picked. 22-year-old turns AI Riz app into $1.5 million, the 2025 playbook, right? Now, why does this work? And it breaks it down because remember, it just finished doing the research before it did this. It stacks curiosity and credibility with numbers, age, and AI, adds a timely 2025 angle, and promises a clear takeaway. Playbook for creators who want a repeatable path. This is extremely important. It tells you why it works. So now you can be confident as long as this is about what you want to communicate with this video, this is the exact title you'd want to use because, again, it not only came up with ideas, it first did the research, understanding what is important for YouTube, pulls in all the data and the analytics, and from there, based on that context, it's drafting and putting together a title that will work for your video. So this is super exciting. Now, on purpose, we don't put together all of the research that it found, okay? You could do that. It will consume more credits to do it because the more that it writes, the longer it is. All you would do is click edit, and then in here, you can actually specify for the final output, right? We kind of tell it like, hey, look at this. Do not show all the research. We want you to dive right into the titles, okay? All you'd have to do is change that and say, show all the research before generating all the titles, right? Very simple fix. So if you're the type of person that's like, hey, I want to read a, couple hundred words on all the research it's found, explaining all the details before you see the titles, go ahead and put that in here. For the most part, if you don't need it, you just want to figure out a couple options and have the recommended one, but know that all the research was done, then you can use this one as is. All right, questions. Let's see. You can run these on your back catalog and revive some content. Yes, 100%. That is So that's a very important strategy, Florence. Thank you for pulling that up. I definitely recommend you A/B test titles, right? And so if you've got older content that didn't perform as well, just simply updating the titles could get you more views because YouTube's algorithms are going to realize that you've made an adjustment. It's going to try to test it. It's going to show it to more people and see if it resonates. And if it does, then it might show it to more people and you might see some of your content go better. So definitely come in here, grab the recommended title, start updating a lot of your back catalog so that you can update the information in there. That's a great strategy. All right, now I like that all the titles are not text format the way many LLM structure titles. That is not my favorite. That's why we do this first, right? Now, you might get one or two, like, I think we got this one, like TikTok UGC funnel, but for the most part, it's going to be structured differently and more cohesively. I want to do another one, and I'm going to show you in here. We're going to try to do a blog post, okay? Now, we have a whole library, if I click on add card, of blog posts, okay? But right now, all of these blog posts focus solely on the context from your video, okay? So we probably have like 10 different ones, like turn a webinar into a blog post, a podcast to a blog post, right? Or blog post with deep insights, or a listicle style, problem solution. So we have so many different variations of blog posts, okay, that you could generate from a video inside of Alphana. But we ground that against the video because we want to make sure those insights are pulled in. Now, if we want to do live web search, you could grab any one of those, but all you need to do is type inside of that prompt, make sure to do a live web search before writing the blog post, okay? That's how our live web search feature works, and it works for anything. But you do have to put in the prompt, and I'll show you an example, because I'm going to create a brand new prompt for a blog post. And this was one that I drafted that's very simple, okay? I didn't do a long structure on purpose because I want you to see what this would produce. So I'm saying write a 3,000 word article based on this video transcript. Make sure to do a live web search and pull in live results, trends, and data to back up claims made in this video. Here you go, right? Super important. You have to say to use live web search in order for it to use it. Make it SEO optimized, right? Because that's super important. We want to make sure that we're optimizing this. Avoid too many bullet points, but use them strategically throughout. Make sure the writing sounds human and natural. Now, you could put anything else you want in here. Like all our other blog prompts are actually really long with specificity. In this case, I'm leaving it a little bit broad, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit generate. So now it's going to analyze the video. It's going to understand everything that's with the video, and it's going to then do an online lookup with the top takeaways, the claims, and any data that it can from that video. And it's going to now incorporate those elements into the blog post. The other powerful thing that's super important here is that we are no longer limited to generating about 1,000 words in an article, because I think the most in the past that you've been able to generate for a blog post inside of Alphana was probably around 1,000 words, okay? And that was if you really pushed the limits to it. Now you could do 3,000. I've even tried 5,000 words, and it works so well to produce longer content. You could just imagine the ideas of what you can do now within this by being able to create more words inside of a post, because now it can also take the context of the video as well as take context from the internet to pull in live data and research. And now we are watching this draft literally a 3,000 word article. And look at this. Along the way, he explains how to. Wow, beautiful. Look at this. Puts together quick context. And there you have it. It's just going to keep writing. And sometimes it's fun to watch because it just goes and goes and goes. Because again, we're trying to do 3,000 words, right? This would take days or weeks of work and editing before I would ever try to do this myself. All right, let me check out questions while this is running. The explanation of why the title works will help educate the creator on how to think about titles. Yes, I agree. Question, create a card to summarize a video. Create next actions, list to pull out actionable steps the video includes. This will be a handout to pair with the video as a source. Yes. Okay. And I have something else with a handout too that might help. But yes, we could do something like that as well. Wow. Look at this. It's still going. We'll just give that one moment. Wow. Still going. Still going, still going. Look at that. We could just wait here all day because it's writing. It's doing 3,000 words. It's impressive. All right. I am new, so this might be a stupid question. No, there's never any stupid questions. But I have trained my own GPT to write like me. Can I create a customized writing style? Yes, you absolutely can to create your own customized style. You would do that by using custom instructions. So the beautiful part with ChatGPT is that you can actually ask it to write and put together and explain exactly what your writing style is. And once you get the exact writing style from ChatGPT, you can come back into Alphana and paste that into your custom instructions so that now every new project that you create, it'll follow the instructions that you pulled from ChatGPT. So, wow, and this is still going. Look at this. Now it's putting together FAQs. I mean, this is, if you want to talk about for search engine optimization and creating long form content, this is incredible. Just so that you know, if I click here in the top right where the three dots, I'm going to click here where it says custom instructions. And you could do this inside of your settings as well. But in both places, it's the same thing. They save. You'll see that I put my instructions in here because we're essentially telling the AI how to create content for everything, specify if it should be formal, casual, long, short, your writing style. And you can even put like 3 or 4 bullet points of like how you write and how not to write. So you could kind of do like your do's and don'ts. And then you would just paste that inside of this text box. And now every single time that you write a new piece of content, it's going to follow these instructions. I even put not only, like a little bit of the writing style, I correct misspellings of like Alphana, it always spells it with an F. I put whenever Sebastian Mourra is a host or a guest, use his social media URLs. I even put, how I want my CTAs. I catch that it always misspells VO3, so I tell it to use VO3. So these are very clear things that you could put for your instructions so that all of this content follows those instructions. Does that help, Heidi? And meanwhile, all right, look at this. All right, this blog post, I'm going to go ahead and rename it so that we know what this is. And I'm just going to call it a, 3,000 word blog post. Actually, I'm going to do blog post 3,000 words. So remember, you could rename each one of your cards because remember, I could save this for later. I could save this entire workflow as one template to be able to reuse later. And it put it together from 0 to 1.5 million at 22, how a solo founder built a viral consumer apps with TikTok, smart pricing, and timing. It breaks down every section. It gives context, right? It shows how it went viral, why Instagram stories were the perfect wedge. Now, here's what's important, right? Because remember what I said. One, we unlocked the ability to write long form content, 3,000, 5,000 words. Beautiful. But not only that, we now pull in stats. So it's not just using information from the video, right? It talks about in here that, in recent data, 27% of people said that they met dates via social media, according to Forbes Health 2025. And 37% of US adults have used online dating apps at some point, with 56% of those aged 18 to 29 having tried them. This is all based off of the content, like you've got the insights from the video, and then it went in and got data to infuse the blog post with that data. So now you have a lot more that's coming in through these sources, right? The next one's like, at the same time, there's a real app fatigue. One 2024 survey found that 78% of dating app users feel burned out, especially Gen Z. So it's so practical, low friction tools to help you with better conversations. And this happens all throughout. And it gives you the links. You see down here at the bottom, you'll see that the hyperlink appears and it gives you the full URL so you can go check out these sources. And it breaks down everything. Like this is an entire playbook. You could even do content like this and put it behind a lead capture and tell people like to break out all these takeaways. It lists all the sources for the trends and benchmarks, all of these with URLs. And then it gives you FAQs for their creators and indie devs, right? Because that's what they're targeting in here. So this is super important, super cool. What really makes this cool too is that this not only works for blog posts, but it can work for an ebook, or like a lead magnet, right? That you want to give away to somebody and you want to produce a long form content and be like, we just created a 22-page ebook about how you can go from 0 to 1.5 million and how a solo founder built viral consumer apps with TikTok, smart pricing, and timing, right? And there's your ebook. Put it together in a PDF, add a lead capture form. And now you can do something like that to give it away. Questions. While we're waiting, I took a quick screenshot earlier and went to upload. Is there a way to upload an image screenshot into Alphana? No, unfortunately, you cannot upload a screenshot, but this is a workaround. If you uploaded a screenshot to like ChatGPT and asked it to describe it for you, then put that into Alphana, you could do that. Okay, which is what you did. So yeah. Any screenshot, grab it, screenshot it. You could do that. These prompts that I'm showing you, we are publishing it and we're going to have that inside of Alphana for you. So inside of Alphana, you'll be able to go in, you'll find these prompts. So all you'll need to do then is click add card. And like, for example, newsjacking, like I showed you earlier, it's already there, right? You have that. The blog post article one, I'm going to put that in here as well. So you'll have access to that. So great question. Let me see, just copied and pasted GPT into custom instructions. So thrilled. So I'm so glad. Let me know how that runs for you. I want to try the prompt, what you asked me earlier. I rewrote the prompt while we were on this call because I have my handy AI that helps me tweak some prompts. And I know you wanted to do something like a handout. So I want to do something where first, I'm going to go ahead and just add card. You asked that you wanted to create a video summary with actionable text to be a handout resource. I just added more context to it so you could see my prompt. And don't worry, I could always share this with you after, but we want to extract the key insights, put together the content structure, and we have output requirements and all the insights, tools, and everything that were mentioned. And so I essentially took your prompt and enhanced it, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. So this right now, we are generating Florence's request because she wanted a card to summarize the video, create the next action items, and then we could see what that puts together. This will be a handout to pair with the video resource. So there's that. And then I'm going to show you another very interesting trick, or not a trick, but something new that we are going to roll out because I figured out a new use case. So let's just make sure this generated. All right, tell me your thoughts, but this was kind of like the high level based on what I understood, right? So we created a video summary and an action guide. It got an overview. Right? The episode follows a 22-year-old solo founder. We broke down the key takeaways now from the video, generated action steps. So number one, pick the right problem and hook, design a high converting onboarding, build the feature. And look at this. It brings all the key next steps to do with sub-bullets. It puts together all the resources that were mentioned inside of the video and a quick reference guide at the bottom. Look at this. Use this handout to map your next app, pick one core need. Now remember, what's cool is that, you might have a fitness company, or you might be a coach, or you might be a software business owner, an agency owner, or just a content creator. All of this is going to change depending on what you have. This was all based off of Florence's initial prompt. All I did was enhance the prompt, and now we have it inside here to be able to use it because we're pulling context from the video. So we've got this video card, and I don't know what to call it, but I'm thinking maybe something like video summary and action guide or something like that. So we could just say, rename it to video summary and action guide. Now here's what's beautiful for all of you that are watching right now. I just saved this. I'm going to go ahead and publish this. So guess what? If you like this structure, I'm going to go ahead and publish this card as video summary and action guide, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. Everyone, please, you now have a brand new prompt you can use, and it should appear here. There it is, a new card that you can use. With this one-pager idea, I thought of, well, what if we did a one-pager that was a little bit more designed as an image, right? And so I was testing this earlier, and I did a couple things. So here's an example of a visual one-pager that we used. And I'm going to show you now, this actually puts together a one-pager based off of the key takeaways coming from the video. And this image was made inside of Alphana. So you remember, you don't need to just create text. I could create images inside of Alphana. And this was one way to hack it to bring in more. Like, look at this. It's a handout from transcript to video, Alphana and VO3 workflow, because this was based off of one of my videos. I was trying to test what it would look like. And so you could see here, in Alphana, upload a video, podcast, or transcript to auto-transcribe and extract insights. Number 2, generate a wall of insights to spark ad ideas, thumbnails, and reference images. Review the auto-made prompts and tweak. And then number 4, create storyboard cards, build ASMR-style prompts, because you could do that in Alphana. This was all based of our Insider Live session that we did last week. I took the video from our last Insider Live session, I put it into Alphana, and it generated now a handout. Here's another design that it did, again, based off of key takeaways or ideas based on the video. It created a shortcut your video creation creator's one-page guide, right? Like, look at this. Even if, let's say, this isn't the final that you want to use, you want to make adjustments, but it gave you an overall layout and a template that either you could drop into like Canva and go in there and now go and create your own, or if you send it to a designer. But these are all examples of like one-pager takeaways or anything like that. A handout, or if it's not even a handout, it could be used as one piece of a lead magnet, right? You could generate stuff like this. And then I did another one, just so you could see another example of a handout. So this one, what was cool was if I edit, you'll see here that I've added a reference image. And the prompt is saying, hey, here's an example reference image of an overall design. Using this type of look and feel and design, I want you to create a one-pager handout based on the insights of my video transcript, right? So we're using those insights to create it, but in a format that looks like this reference image. So if you have a design or a brand, you could import your brand inside of here. Okay, you could actually add that in here of your brand colors, your styles, or a format, and Alphana will now leverage that to be able to generate the content. And here it is. And what's great is that we can actually upload up to 16 images. So you could really do something cool and unique with this. In this example, if I edit the prompt, we did not put a reference image. I let it all up to the AI. I just said, based on the video transcript, create a one-page design for a handout that has a short summary and 3 to 5 actionable takeaways from the video. It will be printed in full color, so make the design beautifully organized. That was just very simple prompt as a test. Feel free to make it as long as you want. Now, if I click here to see the first image, you're going to see what it did. And here it is. It created the workflow for creators. How Sebastian Mourra uses GPT-5 inside of Alphana to turn any video, podcast, interview, or voice note into reference images. So this thing right here just really helps to bring it down. I mean, look at the level of fidelity. It kind of, if I zoom in, you'll see like it shows the storyboard concepts, wall of insights, ads and thumbnails. These were all things that were discussed inside of the video. And again, Alphana generates the unique prompts to generate each image. So if there's something in the image you don't like, copy the prompt, go back in. Now you can create a new image and just make the adjustments you want. Here's a second one it created. Here's a third one. Now look, I mean, this one came out pretty cool. It used actual real images, like never drop the ball again. That was something I said on the video based off of one of the cards that we had. I talked about podcasting meets profit. We had the wall of insights with sticky notes. Look at that. Here's some tips, right? Record a voice note if you don't have video. Use cards templates to jumpstart prompts. Switch between sketch and cinematic styles. Choose landscape vertical early to avoid cropping. Iterate for better timing. I mean, look at this. And then down here, it's got a reference frame and it says 8 seconds and it created a video, because the video that we talked about last week was using Alphana to generate a reference image and then taking that reference image and using Google VO3, their AI model, to generate video based on our reference image. And look, it captured that right here, right? Using Flow VO3 frames to video concept. It needs to change my pic. What? Does this not look like me? I think I have hair like that, don't I? I'm kidding. Yeah, it's missing me, but you know, that's a good point. So one thing I would note, because, right, for ethical reasons right now, the AI model will not use your exact photo. So if you upload a reference image, it might get something close to me, but it's not going to be me or you if you upload your photo. It's going to make some little adjustments. But if you say, hey, use a anime or a cartoon or sketch version of me, then it'll be inspired by you. It'll look more like you, but as a character. You could do something like that, or just tell it not to use any images of yourself. All right. So that is this one. So this right here is a new prompt that I'm going to give access to everybody. Not a prompt, but an AI card that you're going to now have access to inside of Alphana. I told you guys to stay till the end. I'm going to add this in here. You're going to now have access inside of Alphana to create a visual one-pager using this reference image. It's going to come out in this exact style. So this is a great one. I'm going to go ahead and just publish that now for you. Visual one-pager with reference image. Sorry, let's see. Visual one-pager with reference. That way it's shorter. Or you guys are seeing me do this live. Visual one-pager reference image. All right. So I went ahead and I published that. Now you have access to the visual one-pager. And what's great, Florence just had a great idea. You can also put the image in Photoshop or another tool to layer in your photo, your pic. So yes, you could do that as well. Just grab one of those and you can layer your photo inside. So that's one example. Now, one of the last things I'll show you, and this was something new I came up with and I thought I'd put it in. If you saw our last video that we uploaded on YouTube or inside our live session, we had storyboard ideas inside of Alphana. But this one, we did it even better now. Now it creates 6 panels per image and it gives you 4 different options to create a storyboard for a new ad. And it doesn't have to be for an ad, it could be for anything, but check this out. So now it puts together based on the insights from the video and creates a brand new storyboard. And look at this. It talks about the hook, analyze, shows you insights, storyboard, frames to video, result. So this concept is called From Raw to Real. This one's called Podcast to Promo. I mean, look at the level of fidelity, right? Capture, transcribe, themes, reference, prompt, promo cut. So these are great ways to storyboard new videos if you're trying to come up with ideas, and it'll generate it automatically. Like we talked about doing the ASMR type videos with like the whispers and the sounds and the clicks, and it shows you what it should do, like a quiet setup, soft triggers with a tap or a brush. So you get to see what it's saying to do, so you can kind of storyboard a new video concept. And then last but not least, there's another variation to show you what it looks like. And it kind of uses a different color and tone to be able to storyboard each scene. I hope this was a great session for everyone. You know, this was Alphana Insider Live. I'm Sebastian Mourra. I am the CEO and co-founder of Alphana. We're here every week to help you learn more of how to integrate AI into your workflows. And a lot of times we use Alphana to be able to do that because we could do so much alone with that. Like we said, we launched GPT-5 last week. We added the ability for live web search. And so now there's hundreds or thousands of different use cases. Let's bring in live web search into your content. Go ahead and do it and use it. If you need anything at all, please go ahead and reach out to me. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate all of your time, and I'll see you all next time. By the way, if you're on YouTube, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. That is super important, and it helps other people find us as well. That's our only way to be able to grow and to get other people. So please subscribe to us on YouTube, hit like, drop a comment. I love to read those. And thank you all so much for your time. Have a beautiful rest of your day.